by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Back here, first things first, NBA champ, FS1 NBA analyst, all-around good guy, Antoine Walker joins the show. What up, Antoine?
NCAA champ. That nice intro right there.
I only had 15 seconds to work with. I had to take one out. I took your college years, but next time I will put that back in. All right, Antoine, NBA Finals kick off tonight. Warriors taking on the Raptors, trying to win their 4th title in 5 years. Golden State boasting the #1 offense in the playoffs, while Toronto boasting the #2 ranked defense. That is a collision course for a great series. It's a loaded question, Antoine, but who's got the edge in this one?
I mean, obviously, Golden State has the edge. They've been there, and that's 5 years in a row. I got guys that have been in this situation. When you look at, obviously, Toronto, the experience factor. But I like Toronto. I think they match up really well with them without Kevin Durant. I think they have the ability now to switch, 1 through 4. They can play small and feel comfortable playing small. With KD, it makes it a little harder. So I like what Toronto can bring to this series. They have a closer and a guy who can get you 35, 40, what you need playing against the Golden State team. My only concern is, can they get to 110, 115, which you may have to get that to beat a Golden State team. I don't think 104. I think that's what they're averaging in the playoffs. Toronto, 104 is not going to get it done when you're playing against the Golden State Warriors. And who's going to be that X factor for Toronto to step up? Whether it's Kyle Lowry, played the way he played in the Eastern Conference Finals, Sabaka. I mean, you got to figure out who's going to be that guy to help Kawhi Leonard scoring the basketball.
So if we're asking specifically, not necessarily pick for the series, but who has edge, Warriors offense, Raptors defense, that end of the court, that's going to come down to me, one question, which is, how do they deploy Kawhi Leonard? And if they deploy Kawhi Leonard the way I think they will, which is he guards Draymond Green, and they don't do a ton of switching, and he guards Draymond Green, so the thing that has ruined the league in a positive way, shouldn't say ruined the league, wrecked the league over the last 5 years, the Draymond Green, Steph Curry pick and roll that no one can solve, that no one can defend, ask Kawhi Leonard to disrupt that. If he does, then the Raptors defense has the edge. Because without Kevin Durant, they don't have as many secondary pitches to that. With Kevin Durant, they got one of the greatest secondary pitches ever. Dump it to KD, let him make a shot. Without Kevin Durant, that offense can stall a bit if Kawhi can do something no one's been able to do, which is disrupt the Steph, Draymond, high pick and roll.
Antoine, you know this, that when you get through that conference final, that pressure ratchets up. All the different interviews, all the different ticket requests, all the people calling you, all the different distractions are a real possibility. We're talking about a franchise that hadn't had this type of success in Toronto. So for the players, even though Marc Gasol, playoff experience, limited. Kawhi, he's got a lot of playoff experience, all right? But can he carry from a whole experience standpoint? So for me, the advantage has to be able to go to the Golden State offense, because in that pick and roll that you're talking about, I don't think that Steve Kerr wants to play against Kawhi in the pick and roll. He would much rather have Kawhi in the corner where he doesn't have as much effect on the game. So what they do, if he guards Kawhi, they don't put Draymond and Steph in the pick and roll. They bring one of the other defenders, so when they do switch, because they know it's going to be a switch, Steph would have a better matchup. They don't want Steph going against Kawhi. So I look for them, and they have that ability to be able to variate their offense so easily. They see it all the time. They see which defender they want to Steph to go against in the pick and roll. And then they send whoever's the best defender, send him to the corner. So I believe that the way they can run their offense is a huge advantage, and being used to the pressure of the finals that if those first couple shots don't fall for Van Fleet, does he just stick with shooting it compared to a guy that's been to 5 straight finals? Clay is getting ready to shoot that ball. Steph is getting ready to shoot it, so I'll give the slight advantage to Golden State in their offense.
Well, I think to both of y'all points, your point first, Chris, I think with experience does matter. I think the biggest shell shock for me when I went to the finals, and it's funny, was the media. The first day dealing with the media and how, it's 300-400 media requests out there, and you got to do all these interviews. That's a big part of it in the beginning of. I think also, too, you got to have a guy in the locker room that's going to be, I don't know how much Kawhi talks, we don't see a lot of it, but he's going to have Danny Green, guys that have been in that moment, guys that have won championships, have to be very vocal game by game, in timeouts, keeping guys' confidence. When a guy like Fred may miss a couple shots, staying with it, staying confident. The one thing that I had was with Shaquille O'Neal, we was down 0-2. We got killed both games in Dallas.
Yep.
But the first thing he said coming on the bus is that we're going 3 games at home. We're going to take care of business. That reinsurance, having those veteran leadership is going to be very important in the situation because Golden State's not going to panic. You got to be willing to take their runs, take their hits. They've been there before. They've been down at halftime pretty much the whole playoff series. They come back. They fight back. So you got to be ready for that. And those are things we got to look for. And is Nick Nurse going to be willing to make the adjustments needed for that pick and roll? Is he going to play a Kawhi on Draymond Green so they can switch? I don't know. This is the first time we're going to see that. He did a great job. Obviously in the Walker series,
adjustments too.
made the big adjustment. Is he going to be willing to make the same adjustments and just not worry about Kawhi scoring the basketball? Kawhi can do both.
And if they, just real quick on this, because I know it's a little inside, but the Draymond Steph pick and roll is what has defined this Warriors era pre-Durant and what they instantly went back to post-Durant. If they do what you're saying, then what Golden State is forfeiting is Draymond's playmaking, and you are allowing Kawhi to play center field. You put Draymond in the corner, Kawhi will say, go ahead, pass it to him, shoot the basketball. And if you have Kawhi on Draymond, I don't know that they have to switch it. I don't know that you're doing that so he switches on to Steph. Kawhi is so good, he can show for a moment and recover. Now, I don't know if that's what they're going to do. They might say Kawhi's offense is too important, that's too much of a workload on him, let him guard Andre Iguodala so he can rest. Maybe that's what they'll do, but that's Nick Nurse's biggest decision.
When you decide to trap Steph Curry, what Steve Kerr does is he puts Draymond in the pick and roll. He doesn't always have Draymond in the pick and roll. When you trap Steph Curry, then he puts Draymond in there because Draymond's the best playmaker.
Yes.
So Draymond is the outlet, and then he's able to make plays because now they have the advantage. Typically, if you don't trap Steph, they won't put Draymond in the pick and roll as much.
All right, Antoine, stick around. Coming up, we'll talk some Rockets. Is Houston ready to blow up their entire roster? Next on First Things First.
Blowed up. Didn't somebody say that on TV? Yeah.
I'll trust you.
Yes.